Should women give up on love? Should women give up on marriage? According to a recent statement by the actress Jackie, she says that women should keep on getting married until they get it right. The thing about getting it right is that you won't know until you're actually in the relationship and it continues to last and you continue to change with each other and grow with each other. But one of the things I find very interesting that this topic is very polarizing because oftentimes when a woman has gotten married once or twice, maybe thrice, they then begin to give up on marriage. They don't want to go through it again. The emotional toll that it took on them or the pain and suffering that they felt based on the relationships they've had, a lot of women give up. But men are different. Many men will continue to get married and they'll continue to try and try and try. And oftentimes one of the reasons why is because once you're with a young lady for a while, it becomes one of her prerequisites. And maybe she hasn't gotten to that point where she feels like she doesn't want to be married anymore. And so men oftentimes will remarry 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. That reminds me of a little story. So let me tell you a little story. So I met this gentleman back in the late 90s. When I met this gentleman, he had gotten married originally in around the age frame of 19, 20 years old. They were both in the military. She went to one country. He was stationed here in America. She had an affair. It ended. Married to another young lady. Actually, I got that reversed. Married to another young lady who was local to where he was at. I think she cheated on him as well. They broke up. Then, when I met him, he would tell me about this one young lady that he dated for a while, and he thought that she was the most wonderful woman that he had ever met, and that she was just his whole world. But they separated before their friendship could develop into something more. So he kept telling me about this woman, and I was like, that's the one you should go find. But instead, he went off and married another young lady. Now, at first, the relationship was good. It was great. And then over some time, things started getting a little rocky. And I do believe, in my own personal opinion, it was too much pressure for him. The religious pressure was too much pressure for him. And so that relationship dissolved as well. And then out of his idiocy, he married this other woman that, it was a travesty from the beginning. And I told him so from the beginning. And then finally, after that one, I almost begged and pleaded for him to go get that woman that he had told me about so many years ago. And finally, he looked her up. He actually told me he had never lost contact. He always knew what she was. He looked her up and found her. And they have been blissfully married for over a decade now. They are one of the most successful couples, one of the most loving couples, most understanding couples, most working together couples that I have ever encountered. Now, I know many of you are saying right now that the problem was always with him, or if a person is marrying over and over again, it's that person. But that's not always the situation. Sometimes you see someone, you be with someone, they demonstrate something to you, and then you think, this is great. But then they change, and you don't change together, or they disrespect the relationship. His relationship was disrespected multiple times. And oftentimes people will also say that you should learn from every relationship. If you're not growing or learning, then you are destined to repeat the same thing. And this is true. But there are only so many things that you can learn. Now, that fourth one, he should have never done that one. That one was completely idiocy. But he did learn over the process of his life about being able to discern people better. And some of you are going to say that he was holding on to the love of that first person, which is why the other relationships didn't work. I know the person personally. That is not the case. It wasn't a feeling of, oh, I want her so bad, but I'm going to settle for these other people. I'm 100% positive that wasn't the case. But as life would have it, when he was single, she was single as well, because she had previously been married. But he tried over and over and over and over again to find that fleeting thing of completeness within a relationship. He was complete within himself, but that completeness within a relationship. He tried over and over again. And if anything, when I was going through my divorce, when I was going through my second divorce, when I was going through dating, he was an inspiration. They were an inspiration to me because they let me know that no matter how many times you may fail, just pick yourself back up. Keep going. Now, I didn't have this lost love that I can go running off and looking for. There was nothing like that. And many times that's the case. You don't have this lost love that you're looking for and your reunifications and things of that nature. But when you give up, when you say that, okay, I've had enough, I'm not going to try this anymore. It doesn't work for me. Maybe it's not for me. I don't want to be hurt anymore. You're hiding behind the hurt of that someone else put on you or the hurt that you caused yourself, and you're not opening yourself to be able to find somebody. You become the person who consistently builds a wall while somebody is trying to break that wall down. Somebody's trying to get to know you, trying to be with you. I remember I was dating this one young lady. We met. We started dating. But after about 2 weeks, I realized that this relationship had no legs. It wasn't going anywhere. We could be friends, but that was as far as it was going to go. And one of the reasons why I realized that is because she had went through very traumatic events in her childhood. And although she had been to counseling and worked on them, it was still at a point where the intimacy level was just not there. She just couldn't bring herself to it. It was more of a, I'm just doing this as a chore, and the chore is only going to happen ever so often. But the amount of pain and hurt that she carried from that, she kept building the wall. And even though she went and got help before, she was unwilling to go and get help, again, because the work was undone. It wasn't finished. It wasn't complete. So she continued to build this wall. So I recognized this very quickly, and I said, we should just be friends because this is not going to work. I'm not that kind of guy. I have a very high libido, so it's not going to work. And I've encountered that in many different people that I've dated where they have some type of wall, they have some type of hurt, some type of pain from a previous relationship. And because of that, they either don't know themselves or they haven't fully overcome that issue or that pain. And so they are so well guarded, so well protected that they either become controlling or they become insecure or they become narcissistic or they just simply lie to get you to marry them and then go back to their old guarded selves. So it's not a good thing for you. You have to fully allow yourself to heal and allow yourself to be open to new love. If you're not open to new love, then you will never be able to have new love. If you don't get past the old love and get past the hurt and get past the pain, you will never be open to receive true love or any other kind of love from someone else. It will only be a half measure. So if the scale of love was the extent of this cigar, but you are only willing to go this far because you don't want to feel this much pain, because you know if you go this far in love, you're going to receive this much pain. But if you stay here, the amount of pain you can feel is only here. So you swing in the rhythm of just staying in this space so that you don't have to endure this kind of pain that you did before when you allowed yourself to be this wide open. But in order to get this, you have to be able to risk that. And that is where most people will refuse to entertain relationships to the degree that would make them the most happiest. I will never give up on love. I will hope that you wouldn't either. So always remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.